Arsenal's £75 million Bruno Guimaraes transfer will make Mikel Arteta's side unstoppable. The Gunners' Premier League rivals should fear the worst. Fresh from their long-awaited Premier League title win, and £75 million deal for the Newcastle skipper promises to be transformative for an Arsenal side who already have the opportunity to build a dynasty next season. It's been one of the summer's most protracted transfer sagas, but there is now an air of inevitability about Arsenal completing a sensational swoop for Newcastle's talismanic captain, Bruno Guimaraes. After one rejected bid and a lot of smoke and mirrors, the Gunners are finally closing in on a deal worth £75 million, $101 million, for the 28-year-old Brazil international midfielder, who wants to make the move despite the Magpies' reluctance to sell. Not only will this be a transformative transfer for Arsenal, but it promises to have significant consequences for the rest of the Premier League as Mikel Arteta is to build an era of dominance in North London. Should Arsenal get the Bruno deal done, as anticipated, then you would be hard-pressed to find a more balanced midfield in the whole of Europe. Even individually, Guimaraes is one of the finest central midfielders on the planet. Not only does the Brazilian run tirelessly and bite into tackles, but he also has the composure and vision to pick out a pass in the final third, and the shooting ability and attacking nous to find the back of the net, reflected in his 15-goal contributions in the Premier League alone last season, the most productive of his career to date. Bruno's importance to Newcastle is underlined by the fact that the Magpies have won just 2 of the 16 matches he has missed since arriving from Lyon in January 2022. Their 1.8 points per game ratio with him in the team falls to 0.7 without him, per Opta. The 28-year-old was at his creative best for Brazil at the World Cup this summer, where he was arguably the Selecão's most important player, alongside fellow Arsenal target Vinicius Jr., racking up 4 assists in 4 games before Carlo Ancelotti's side was dumped out in the last 16. Only France dynamo Michael Olise registered more. Crucially, he's another on-pitch, Premier League proven leader for the Gunners, too, bringing plenty of experience and know-how to what is still a relatively young squad as he enters his peak years. When you combine Bruno's all-round capabilities with the running and defensive work of Declan Rice and the guile and creativity of Martinodegaard or Eberechies, then Arsenal's new-look midfield becomes an incredibly daunting prospect for any opponent. It's likely that Guimaraes will slot in alongside Rice and behind Odegaard as a box-to-box no.8, adding a fresh dimension to what is already a formidable midfield unit, pushing higher than the likes of Martin Zubimendi or Miles Lewis-Skelly would. While he should offer plenty going forward, the Brazilian actually outperformed Arsenal's existing options in a variety of defensive metrics last season. He won more individual duels per 90 than any of Arsenal's current central midfielders, 6.1, and he also won more tackles per 90, 1.6. In terms of recoveries, only Rice 5.2 to his 5.0 made more, per Opta. We shouldn't forget the Gunners' strength in depth, either, with the likes of Zubimendi, Lewis-Skelly, Mikel Merino and wonderkid Max Daumann to come off the bench. This is a squad that is set up to challenge on multiple fronts once again. Arsenal boss Arteta has been open about wanting to take a squad that can already call themselves Premier League champions to an even higher plane, which is certainly reflected in the serious pursuits of both Guimaraes and his compatriot Vini Jr. Speaking in an in-house club interview last week, the Spanish tactician said, "A lot is happening. We all know about the context of this transfer window. From ownership to the board, the sporting director, myself, we know that we want to take this club to a different level. That is going to require a better squad, better individuals. We have identified where we have opportunities to grow and to improve and to evolve our game, and what is going to be needed to achieve that. Hopefully very soon we can start to put things in a very concrete way. Arteta expanded on that point in his press conference following the friendly victory over Girona. We expect to have movements in the next few weeks, obviously, because we want to get better like anybody else. And you can just see it, the transfer market and our opponents, what we are doing. We won't sit still. And we are very ambitious in what we want to do. Asked why he was so keen to strengthen, the former midfielder added, because the margins are very small. And because we want to get better and the level is going to increase, we need to increase the competition internally. We need to make sure we identify the things that we don't have in the team, to have bigger margins. And that's the way we have to think. Arsenal were already in a position of significant power before the transfer window had even opened. Having finally ended their agonizing 22-year wait for the Premier League title last term, they are now by far and away the most stable of the would-be challengers in 2025-26. Pep Guardiola's seismic departure at Manchester City means Arteta is now the longest-serving coach England's top 4 divisions, while Liverpool, Chelsea, Tottenham, Manchester United and Newcastle are all among those who will be working under new or relatively new bosses, with a new record set for managerial debuts in the top flight ahead of 2026-27. As they prepare to build on their achievements last season and ride the wave of momentum into the new campaign, Arsenal already hold a serious advantage over their rivals, for whom there is no guarantee of success under the likes of Enzo Maresca, Andoni Iraola and Xabi Alonso. Completing the signing of a potentially transformative presence like Guimaraes, not to mention Vinicius further down the line, will only tip the odds further in their favour. I think we have even more responsibility and more ambition than before, Arteta said, rather ominously, after the Girona win. We know what is ahead, we know the qualities and the capacity that we have to compete with any other team. But we need to prove that we belong to this level. At the moment, Arsenal feels like an institution where everyone is pulling in the same direction, and the rest of the Premier League should be worried as the foundations of a dynasty laid in North London